Hello everyone. So today I'll be showing you that how you can exploit vulnerabilities present in a Jenkins server in order to gain access and then escalate the privileges and gain the root flag, which is basically the goal of all the capture the flag competitions where you capture the flags ultimately. So this room is actually from TryHackMe, whose name is Alfred. So let's jump right in and let me show you how you can do it. I'll provide a link to this room of TryHackMe. TryHackMe is a great resource. Let me rename so this is a Kali virtual machine which is running in VMware Fusion. In that I'm using this Kitty terminal. Let me rename this tab to the IP of the machine so that we can refer to the IP again and again. So the IP of that Alfred machine is 10.10.205.24. Let me see if I can ping this machine. The hint mentions that there is vulnerability in Jenkins server which we need to exploit. It seems we cannot ping it. So let me run a quick Nmap scan. I'll use SV to check the service and its version. I'll use verbose flag. Then put the IP of that machine which we are scanning. So this is a basic Nmap scan. I think ping is being blocked, and yeah, it is mentioned. So you need to. So when you start Nmap scan, it first sends a ping request to see if the host is up. If it is not up, then Nmap doesn't go further for scanning. So if the ping probes are being blocked, then you need to provide this PN flag so that I can tell Nmap that you don't need to go to ping first and then do the scan. So you can directly start the scan. So you see one open port is discovered in 3389, another one is on 8080, and another one is on 80. Another good idea for enumeration is to use the automated tools like Nmap Automator or Recon. What it does is basically it combines lots of scanning tools like Nmap or Nikto, Dirbuster, and runs all of them on the target machine, so your time is saved and multiple of automated scanning is done. I will show you. I have run that Nmap Automator and AutoRecon on this system and what are the outputs it has generated. I'll show you in some time. This is the output of the basic Nmap scan, and it shows that these 3 ports are open. I have done the scanning. Let me show you. I have collected all the results while practicing it. Let me show you what were my results. First of all, let me show you what was the output of Nmap Automator results. I hope the screen is visible. Let me increase the size. Yeah. So you see, first scan shows what are the CVEs that are associated, that might have been associated with the services running on the ports. So here you see that no useful information is there. It shows what are the services running. There's a full scan. Nikto scan is done, no useful result. Here you see what are the typical results of running different Nmap scripts. Not any crucial information. So these are the results that you can get. Now let me show you what were the outputs of auto recon while running. It also runs multiple scripts simultaneously. So this is actually a good way to go about scanning machines so that you can let them run in the background, Nmap Automator and Auto Recon. One is enough though. Let them run in the background and you can do your manual enumeration in the meantime. Like typically you will let them run in the background, and what you will do is you'll actually go ahead and check what you have found. Like in this case, let me go to the machine and check what port 80 and 8080 seems like there's a HTTP service running. So we might see a website. ten dot 10 dot 205.24. First of all, let's check port 80. Let's see if we can find anything in the content of this HTML. We can see an email address, but nothing more than that. I don't see any special API calls as well, so this doesn't seem to be interesting. Let's see port 8080. So we see a Jenkins server. So whenever I see any login page like this, the first thing that comes to our mind is admin. Admin is one of the default username and password provided by the different setups. Like you will find this even on various web pages of our routers. The home page of a router typically has admin. So this is something that we always try out. Here in this case, let me try this out. Admin. Sorry, I typed something wrong. And you can see that we were able to log in. So this is a very major issue in security, that we keep default username and password. This is one of the very common vulnerability that people think that who is going to log in, but this is a very layman's approach to getting access. So now let's see what issues, let's try to explore how we can go further about it. Let's go to settings. So Jenkins is something that even I use on a day-to-day basis. This is used for building pipelines, DevOps pipelines, where you typically build your stuff and deploy it on the dedicated servers. So you can see that I can configure the system. Great. And a root configuration from disk. What better do you need? System logs. The Jenkins CLI, you can run command line interface. There is a script console where you can executes arbitrary script for administration. So this is like hacker's paradise. If you can run a script on the server, what else do you need? If you can run something, then basically getting a reverse shell or bind shell is nothing. It's very easy. Jenkins runs Groovy script. Let's see if we can run anything. It says that you can run println. Let me try to print hello. Let's see if it runs. And yeah, it ran and it gave us the output as well. So now the second approach is, obviously, since we are able to run Groovy, I'll try to find a reverse shell that is written in Groovy and attach it to netcat listener running on my local system. That's a very common approach. Let me try to find groovy reverse shell. Anything from payload, all things. Yeah, this is my favorite GitHub repository. Here you can find it for almost all the languages. We need to find it for groovy. Yeah, groovy is there. Let me try to run this. Here I'll need to give my username and password. You can find it from here. Mine is TUN0, which is my VPN IP, 10.11.41.79. Let me run a listener, netcat listener on 4.4. So my IP is 10 dot, what was it? 10.11.41.79. 10.11.41.79, and the port on which I am running my netcat listener is 4444. Let me try to run it. My netcat is running. And I've got a reverse shell back. Great. Now that we have our reverse shell, now the idea is to escalate our privileges, to enhance our privileges so that we become the root. So here I'll try to use Metasploit for this. Let's run MSF console. It's always good to increase your shell, change your shell to a Metapredator shell, because Metapredator comes along with lots of plugins that can help you in the way to increase your privileges. So let's try to change our shell to Metapredator. For that, let me try to generate shellcode for that. I've run it. So you can execute this command to generate the executable reverse shell. I'll explain you sometime what I'm doing. lhost is the IP of your machine where you would want it to connect. So it is the same. And port is the port on which you will be running your listener, so that later you will get the connection from here. So this is all right. So what this command is doing is that it is using the payload Metapredator reverse TCP, which is the first flag P. Then with A, I'm telling what is the architecture of the machine. This is x86. Encoder is the one that I'm using so that there is no probability of it getting any bad characters or anything. Lhost is the IP to which I'm going to connect my I want it to connect back, which is the IP of my machine. Lport is the port on which I'll be running the listener, Metapredator listener. F is the format, so that it is in exe format because our target machine is Windows. And O is the output file. So this is the name in which I want to put Alfred. So I have run this executable, and what you will get is this. So if you run this, So you can see that you will get alfred.exe. Now what I'll do is that I want to transfer this file to my target machine so that I can execute it there. But how would you transfer it? So the idea is that I'll run a server so that it is available, and I'll pull it from our Windows using a PowerShell script. Let me run Python server on this. I'm running it on port 8190. Now let me try to run. So this is a very common PowerShell command that you'll be running to download stuffs to your machine. I have it written on my system that how you can run. Basically this is something that you need to take notes of. There are two ways to do it that I know of, I use mostly. Let me try both of them. Now this is the IP of my machine where I've hosted it, which is 10 dot, what was it? I keep forgetting my IP. 10.11.41.79. 10.11.41.79. I'm running it on port, what was it, 8190? Yeah, it is 8190. 8190, and then the file name is alfred.exe. Let's see if did we get a hit. I don't see a hit there. Yeah, so this PowerShell script didn't work. There's another way to do it. I'm using C to pass the command to PowerShell interpreter. This is something you don't need to remember. Basically keep note and use wherever it is required. It will be readily present everywhere on the internet, just one search away. 10.11.41.79 90. Let me see if it works. Did we get a hit here? Oh, we do see a hit on our web server. Let's see if it was able to download it. Yeah, we see alfred.exe. Good. Okay, so now I need to run the handler on my MSF console, and then we'll run it on there. Okay, so on MSF console we'll use this exploit. Don't to remember. You'll get to understand it with practice. We'll be using this handler. If you see what are the options that you have. Now we need to set reverse TCP. So you see that the payload that is selected by default is a reverse TCP generic shell. We don't need that. We need a meterpreter. So we'll use this payload. We'll set the payload to Windows based meterpreter. I'm using tab completion, Windows meterpreter, reverse TCP. Fine. Now if you see what are the parameters that you need to pass is that lhost and lport. So lhost is your IP, which is 10.11.41.79. I hope I'm right. If you still see that I need to pass the port, I have used 4 fives. Fine. Now we need to run it. Now it is running. Handler is running on my local MSF console. Now we need to execute our meterpreter shellcode. For that we'll use start process command. Start process and the name of the payload, the shellcode that we have generated, and that name we have given alfred.exe, which you can see on top that it is there. We downloaded it from our own machine. Yeah, so meterpreter shell. So we have meterpreter session established. Great. So on this system, we will be using a concept on Windows which is based on access tokens. So access token is something on Windows which defines what are the privileges that the current user has. What is its identifier, what are the privileges it has. It is defined using its access policy, access tokens. So there are two kinds of tokens. One is the primary token and one is impersonation token. Primary token is the token that you get once you are able to log in, and the impersonation token is the one that using which you change your access token, you change your privileges so that you can execute different stuffs on it. So here we'll be trying to do that, and we'll be trying to exploit this functionality of Windows, and for that we have a plugin in our meterpreter which we'll be using. I need to check what are the privileges that I have currently. Who am I? Oh, sorry, I need to run it on this shell. I'm currently this user Alfred. And what are the privileges I have? So if you see what are enables is that I have this privilege of SE change notify privilege, and I have SE impersonate privilege. So I can impersonate a client after authentication. So this is what I'll be doing. I'll be impersonating this access token to become the root. Becoming the root is always the goal. For that we'll be using this plugin of meterpreter. this module called incognito. Let's try that. Incognito. Yeah, so it is there. Let's see what are the tokens that we have. So you see, these are the tokens that I can impersonate. Spooler is there, one of the common issues for Windows. Great. So you see that I can delegate to become administrator. So that this is something that we want. We want to become the administrator. So here you go. You just need to use the token of administrator, impersonate him, and become the administrator, which is the root in case of Windows. Impersonate token. What was that? Built-in / administrators. Did we do any spelling mistake? Oh, sorry, it should have been in inverted commas. Impersonate token is the module command for this incognito module. Using administrators. Yeah, we have successfully impersonated. But still, if you try to get into the root, you won't be able to do it, because what Windows does is that even if the user has this access token, it cannot do the things that the token allows, because it is not related to the process. The process needs to become the process of the administrator, which it is currently not. Right now the user is the administrator, so we need to change that. For that we need to do something called migration. Using migration, you can migrate your privileges from the privileges of the user who is running the current process to the user whose process you want to migrate it to. So basically the privileges of the user which is running a different process, you can become that using this migrate step. Let me see what are the processes running. PS services. So you see, this is a process that is running with the user entity authority or system, which is the root, and its PID is 668. I don't think I can do it. Yeah. So I need to migrate it to the process ID of this process 668. Now the migration is successful. Now I have the authority of entity authority system, because we migrated to that process. Now if you see where we are, we need to find the root flag. So you see root.txt is now there. Now if we cat it, we have a flag. So this was the goal, to get the flag by becoming the root. So you saw that what are the privileges that we exploited. So initially we started getting into the vulnerable Jenkins server, which allowed us to execute arbitrary script, grovy script. Using that, what we did is that we found a reverse shell script of grovy, executed that, and got a reverse shell back to our system. Now we changed our shell to a meterpreter shell so that it becomes easier to increase our privileges, escalating our privileges. Then what we did is that we created a Meterpreter shell code using MSF Venom. We sent it to our target uh, using this invoke request, that PowerShell script that we executed by hosting the shell code on our system using Python that you saw. Next was that we used MSF console to create the handler. Then we executed that sent shell code. Then we got Meterpreter session. We established Meterpreter session. Then we checked what are the privileges that I have. So we saw that we are able to impersonate. Since we were able to impersonate, so impersonation is a very powerful step for escalating privileges. Yes, then what we did is that we impersonated using this incognito module of Meterpreter. Then we became administrator. Then we just migrated to a process which this root was running. Then we became the root, and then we were able to get the flag. So this is a very simple box, and I hope I was able to explain the basic ideas behind it, like how you can get to it. And in case you have any doubts, please do feel free to comment in comment box, or let me know if you have any suggestions for me. Thank you so much.